What's up, everybody? It's your favorite host, A Millie, and I'm back with another episode of the Sip and Sit podcast. And tonight we are still celebrating Black Music Month. And this episode, I have a artist. She is an artist as well as a music educator. Everybody, let's welcome Destiny Stone. Hey, girl.
Thank you for having me. It's good
Of
to be
course.
to
Of
celebrate.
course, of course, I had to bring all of the artists, the ones that are out here doing it big, because I know you're really, really making moves and making headlines in North Carolina. And I had to say, okay, I got to get her on. I've listened to your music, and can I say I was just blown away? Because I know you got next. You are next up.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so Destiny, tell me a little bit about yourself and how did your journey as an artist begin?
Yeah, so I like to say that it's in my blood.
Hmm.
I'm literally a third generation recording artist. So I'm from Mississippi, born and raised. My granddaddy was in a gospel quartet. His daddy was in a gospel quartet. And they didn't make it as big as some of the like groups like the Canton Spirituals or whatnot. But in North Mississippi, they were pretty popular and they were traveling and recording gospel music in the early 1900s and mid 1900s. And yeah, so ever since I was a little girl, I've always known I wanted to sing. I think the first time I ever sang in church, I was like 5.
Mm.
Get together for family gatherings. My uncles used to pretend like they were my managers. And they're like, okay, you gonna sing this and you gonna sing that. And so yeah, I didn't really go through that phase as a child of I remember my brother, he wanted to be so many things when he was growing up. Some children kind of explore of different options, but I didn't really go through that phase. I just always knew from a really young age, I want to sing. I started writing songs in elementary school. They weren't very good, but I was writing songs. And then in 5th grade, I won my first talent show with a song
Mm.
so that really like kind of boosted my confidence. Okay, well, maybe this can be something. So yeah, from then on, I've just been pursuing it. I graduated from Mississippi School of the Arts. It's a performing arts
Mm.
school in Mississippi. My degree from Catawba College is in music. Um, so music has just been in my life pretty much since
Mhm.
then. So that's pretty much my journey.
So it has really been in your blood. And I liked how you kind of touched on that it started in the family. And, I'm from the South, I'm from Alabama. So, just growing up in the South with music, how did that influence you wanting to really become an artist?
Yeah, I'm proud to say I'm from Mississippi. I know some people like, oh, you from, people talk bad about it, and they just think it's nothing but sticks and how people do. But you know what? I would never shy away from it. I'm proud to be from Holly Springs. It ain't nothing but 8,000 people there. However, it is home of Russ College, which is one of the oldest HBCUs in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm really proud to be where I'm from. We're a really small town. It's one of those towns where everybody knows everybody. My uncle was one of the former mayors. So it's like one of those,
Wow.
my piano teacher and my choir director, she taught my mom, so it's like one of those
Wow.
where
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows each other, half everybody kin each other, and so that definitely played a big part in my career. My first show that I put together, I was 15 and
Wow.
my hometown, and my people from my hometown, they supported me.
Mm-hmm.
To this day, they still support me. So that small town community feel has still carried me even today. So
Mhm. So you have that, what we call that village. And, being from Mississippi, being involved in the community, putting on, shows, doing your first show at 15. Can you take me back to that time? What did it feel like to be out on that stage and really like, wow, this is my time. This is me. Like, what was that moment for you? And when was that aha moment that was like, you know what, I want to do this full time?
yeah, so I think the summer, maybe like the year, I kind of get it confused, but I went to a music camp in Mississippi College.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I was like 14 or 15 or so, and they had a talent show for all the kids who were in there, and I sang a song that I wrote, And I do not say this to brag, but I just say it to prove my point of like, okay, it kind of clicked for me then. Like
Mm-hmm.
again, I always knew what I wanted to do, but I did the talent show and I was the only person to get a standing ovation.
Wow.
Once that clicked for me, and my mom after the show, she was like, I looked around and people were crying and like
Mm.
really, and I was crying because I sang a song about my grandmother. And so
Mm.
that it really, if I could say if I knew 100%, that like made me know 200%. You know, I have something special to offer, and I like to think of it as a gift. And what
Mm-hmm.
do? Is you give them, right?
Mm.
You give,
Mm.
them. And so that's how I try to look at it. Like I'm giving musical gifts to people who are willing to open them and listen to what I do. And so, like I said, I've just kind of always known, and I think my parents saw it in an early age.
Mm-hmm.
Will say my parents did an awesome job of encouraging me. My
Mm.
dad took me to the studio for the first time when I was 12.
Mm.
Ever I came to my mom about an idea, she always, supported it. When I was 15, she let my friends come over after school and we was rehearsing in the living room because my friends were my background singers. And
Okay, okay. So y'all had like a little Destiny Child moment going on where you were the lead singer.
and so, but she let them ride the bus. She let them come over after school and we rehearsed. And Um, yeah, and my mom, she's the one who got me in piano lessons. I remember I went to place I wanted to quit so bad, and she would not let me quit. Now I'm grateful. You look back over time, and it's like I'm so glad she did not let me quit piano lessons just because
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be the musician that I am today. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I have had a very good support system. I have had that village, to really support me and help
Mm-hmm.
me to get to where I want to be.
Mm-hmm. And I always say mama knows best. See, you wanted to quit that piano. She was like, oh no, she knew what's best for you. And look at you now, a successful music educator as well as an artist. So I want to ask you, with being an artist, what do you think so far for you has been the most rewarding moment as an artist?
I will say so far, the most rewarding thing, I think I cry every time I watch a YouTube video. So this past April, there in the town where I live, they had this big like Earth Day festival called Earth Day
Mm-hmm.
Jam, and I got booked to perform with my band. And I just released a new song in February called "They Got Nothing on You,"
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, what if I have some of my students at the time to sing with me? So
Mm-hmm.
this past year, I taught middle school, so I taught sixth grade through eighth grade, and
Mm-hmm.
I had a group of students who really, really wanted to sing, and they were nervous, but they was like, I want to get on stage, and they want to sing with me. And I had one of my seventh graders to do the second verse as a solo, and
Wow.
she just, oh my goodness, you just go on YouTube, go to my YouTube channel and watch it, and I tear up. I mean, the first time I watched, I was like boohooing, I was snotting,
Mm-hmm.
like I was so proud of her that she felt so open and free. And you could just literally watch her in just those few seconds kind of go from, okay, to this right here. And she literally just in those few seconds. And I was just so grateful that I was able to give her an opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
to do like it, to do something like that, open
Mm-hmm.
up and to perform. And there were hundreds of people there. She had never done anything like that before. She was like, Miss King, I'm so nervous. I said, it's okay. I'm gonna be nervous
Yeah.
too together. And so I was just so proud of her. And to date, that has probably got to be one of the most special moments.
Mm.
See her smile and own
Mhm.
it and people cheering for her.
Mhm.
She was like, Miss King, after I got done, people tell me how good I did. I was like, and she was just so excited. And
Mhm.
so, like I said, just to give her that opportunity, because it's a gift, right? And what I
Mhm. Mhm.
give gifts. And so that's definitely top of the list. One of the most beautiful moments
Yeah.
that as an artist.
Yes. And not only as an artist, as an educator as well. I know that was like I am in artist mode, but as an educator that leads the kids, that teaches the students, like that must have been like life changing for you to kind of see your passion intertwined with another passion of yours, teaching the kids, and now is the fruits of your labor instilling in them what music is all about, and seeing that them perform with you.
Yeah, definitely. again, they were really nervous, but at the same time, they were excited. And I was just
Mhm.
grateful to give them an opportunity to do
Mhm.
something different, to do
Mhm.
something they've done before. And you just never know. And then, like I said, after that, Bria was like, I think I want to be a singer now. And
Mm.
you just never know. She might blow up and be bigger than me. Okay.
Or
But
y'all can perform together at the Grammys. We're putting that out there. Y'all might be
and,
performing on stage at the Grammys.
yes. And so, it was beautiful. And like I said, I tear up every time I go back to my YouTube channel and watch that video because that's what it's about. I want to inspire. At least I know my lane. You know what I'm saying? It took me a while to kind of really get really, really comfortable in my lane, but just because
Mhm.
I know my lane is a little unique. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's discouraging because my lane isn't very mainstream. You
Mhm.
know, don't look like some of the biggest artists today.
Mhm.
My music isn't like some of those girls. And so, it does kind of get discouraging sometimes. We're like, man, what do I got to do to get to the level?
Mhm.
And but that moment just kind of solidified for me that, Destiny, you stay in your lane, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Everybody got their own thing that they gonna do. You can't try to be like her. She can't try to be like you. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And so that just kind of reminded me, just keep doing what you're doing. And I
Mhm.
know people say it all the time. I know it sounds real cliche, but you got to, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
We don't need 50, 100 of the same person. We need everybody
Mhm.
their own thing. So
Mhm.
yeah.
And I feel you on that because everybody is unique in their own way. And once you continue to stay in your lane, it will pay off with consistency, with passion, and just having the faith that God will lead you to where you want to be.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Mhm.
Totally agree.
And with this month, June, we talk about we highlight Black Music Month and also celebrating 50 years of hip hop this
Mhm.
year. I want to ask you, how important is it that we celebrate Black Music Month, and what does it mean to you as an artist?
And I would say this also as a music educator. In the United States, Black music is the foundation of all
Mm.
music, right? And this is the educator coming out of me. When we think of any form of American music, as in the United States, hip hop created by Black people, jazz
Mhm.
created by Black people, blues created by Black people. The biggest genres that we think of, even when you think about country, guess
Mhm.
who the biggest country artists? Guess who their guitar teachers were? Black blues musicians, right?
Mhm.
Think about Tina Turner. There wouldn't be no Rolling Stones. There wouldn't be no Mick Jagger
Mhm. Mhm.
woman, right? And
Mhm.
so Black musicians, we are the foundation of American music. It wouldn't be nothing else, right?
Mhm.
Without us. And that blues being born out of that struggle
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
taking that, and we just
Mhm.
all being resilient, and we're
Mhm.
always being creative and
Mhm.
putting our experiences into music, and we've done it so well. And we know people try to copy it.
Yes.
Even all the way over there in other countries, they try to copy it in. But at the end of the day, we do it, we created it, we do it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's important. Again, you cannot talk about American music in general without talking about
Mhm.
its in their contributions. Uh,
Exactly.
can't get around it. And if somebody
Exactly.
on it, they
Mhm.
lying. It wouldn't be no Elvis. It wouldn't.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say. It would not be
I,
an Elvis without the influence of gospel music. If you've seen
mm,
the biopic Elvis that came out last year, I did not know Elvis was influenced by gospel music,
again,
by soul music. I never knew that, and that was something
like
um that
Black.
was different from me because
Yeah.
I don't listen to Elvis personally like that. I think he's a great artist, but never knew that.
Right. I mean, you think about groups like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. Who were they influenced by? New
Mhm,
Edition,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
So even when you cross the threshold, right, and you get, and the music industry, and we talk about the history of it, right? The music industry can be very racist, and let's just be real. That's the
mhm,
history of it. You can't get around it. And they're going back to Elvis Presley, right? having those black musicians behind the scenes, but then you put a white face on it. And
Mhm.
I told my students who were learning about different genres, I would tell them there is nothing wrong with being inspired, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Nothing wrong with that. But where it becomes sticky and iffy is when you pretend as if you are the creator. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, a lot of black musicians, they get pushed to the bottom, they get
Mhm.
forgotten about, they get pushed to the side,
Mhm.
and they don't get the recognition that they deserve. I
Mhm.
know Little Richard talk about it all the time about he did
Mhm.
not get recognition that he feels like he deserved as being a black musician who created, rock and roll. So again, I
Mhm.
go on and on, but black music is American music. Again, you
Mhm.
can't really separate the two. And again, if you think about some of the biggest stars, black or white, you know,
Mhm.
you dig deep enough, you're gonna find that connection
Mhm.
to a black musician or a genre created by black
Mhm.
musicians.
And you're absolutely right. I want to ask you, as an educator, how important is it that you teach your students about music? I know it seemed like schools try to eradicate music education, but how important is it to have music in schools?
I believe it is extremely important. Um, I know I used to tell my students last year, I said, I teased them, I said, y'all, if we was in Florida or Texas, I probably would be fired by now. Because I
Mm,
tell my students the truth. I tell them the history, even in the music industry. Like I said, there were some shiesty things going on. There are many things. We talked about Billie Holiday,
mhm,
or last. And so really giving
mhm,
them that history and being that they're middle school, they're a little bit more mature, we can kind of get into those deeper topics
mhm,
as seventh and eighth graders, right? And so I would tell them the truth. And I think they really appreciated it. They were always asking questions and it kind of surprised me sometimes because, kids, people, they get a bad rap these days, like they're always in their phone and da 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 da. But I think when I presented them some new information that they had never heard of, they
mhm,
were and they were asking questions and they were really engaged. And so I told my kids what's up. I was never ashamed of being a black woman from
mhm,
the South. I will always, put that up front. We talked about the history, we talked about what's real.
mhm,
At the end of the day, they really appreciated that. And now they have a better understanding and they don't have to go in the word oblivious. And I
mhm,
told them, I said, y'all, some of the stuff I'm teaching y'all, I didn't learn until I was in college. So we're not
mm,
in college. We're
mhm.
gonna learn now while we're in middle school. And y'all
Yes.
not learning until you get to college. So yeah.
So, with the different kind of genres of music that you have, taught your students, what is your favorite genre of music?
Oh, I would probably have to say soul. I think
Mm,
it's soul. I mean, like Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, even up to like Bilal Maxwell. So, and I say soul just because I think it's a beautiful combination
mhm.
of gospel music, and you think of that grit, and it's coming from deep down in
The
here,
that diaphragm, like yes,
and
deep down.
down in here.
Mhm,
And you can just hear it. And I just love, again, I think this is the music educator in me. I love hearing it. And it's just beautiful how so many genres can kind of be blended together. So you can like listen to a song, you can kind of hear maybe some of those gospel influences or maybe some of those
mhm,
rock and roll influences or
mhm,
whatever. But I think I'm gonna have to say soul. If I just had to pick one, I consider myself a neo soul artist, kind of
mhm.
put myself in a box. Um, and so yeah, but gospel. I sing at church, so of course ain't nothing like no good choir, Mississippi Mass Choir. No,
Exactly. Yes.
it's hard.
One of my favorite mass choirs has always been the Mississippi Mass Choir.
It don't get no better. It don't
It
get.
does not. It does not. Now, I know you talk about you being, a neo soul artist, and you describe your voice as a mix of early 2000s combined with the soul of the 70s. Now, I got to ask you, who has been some of your music influences that kind of inspire your sound of music?
Definitely, I would say India Arie.
Mm.
Me, one of the first CDs when I think I was like fifth grade,
Mhm.
and I learned every word to every song. And I really think what gravitated me to Arie is because I literally saw a reflection of myself, right?
Mm.
The dark skin, black woman, she had that natural hair. And
Mhm.
I felt like I was looking at myself,
Mhm.
and just with the style of music she did and the content of her lyrics, I was like, wow, she really made me feel like if she can do it, I can do it. Like
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
made me feel that way.
Mhm.
And so ever since I was a little girl, she has been my girl. She has been one of my biggest fans.
Yes.
The only concert ticket I have ever bought was to see her, and I ain't
Wow.
worried about it. I easily spent that money, and it was
Mhm.
a beautiful experience. I saw her in Charlotte in 2019, and it
Mhm.
was so amazing. Like I was like a little, like I feel like a little girl in
And the
the
kid is still like, oh my god, like this is my one of my greatest artists of all time.
yes, and at the same time, I was looking around in the audience. I was like, God, like I know this can be me one day, right? And I was
Yes.
just
Ooh.
demographics of the people that were there. And I was like, wow, this is really similar to the demographics of the people who look like you should come to my show, just on a smaller scale.
Mhm.
It was just, for me, it was just really encouraging all the way around. One, just have a good time singing all her songs with her. And then two, it was just really encouraging because it's like, okay, maybe one day I can, if she can do it, I can do it too.
Mhm.
And then once I got in college, I got introduced to Nina Simone.
Wow.
Her, I was like, oh wow, like this like
Wow.
a boss. And I ended up doing research on her. And again, I think I kind of gravitated to her because it was this beautiful, dark skinned woman playing the piano like me,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And she was classically trained. She took piano lessons as a girl, and but then she ended up being a songwriter and
Mhm.
got into jazz. And I just really admired her because as her jazz career was, kind of taking off, the civil
Mhm.
rights movement was happening at the same time.
Mhm. Mhm.
Made a sacrifice, because that's what it was, to start writing songs about what was going on in the civil rights movement.
Mhm. Mhm.
Of course, people didn't like that. They
Mhm.
just the time they just want to hear jazz. They don't want to hear, about the struggles.
Mhm.
They hear about that
Mhm.
conscious music. And so unfortunately her career started to decline, but it just kind of worked out. She became infamous, in a sense. And
Mhm.
so again, she's another artist that I heavily admire,
Mhm.
for just not being afraid to do what's
Mhm.
right.
Mm.
If that means that I might have to sacrifice a couple of bags to support my people, then that's what
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so I really admire her for sticking with her gut,
Mhm.
and creating a music
Mhm.
that today we can sing "To Be Young, Gifted, and Black" for women.
Yes.
um
Yes.
Jay-Z just sampled for women a few years ago on his album, talking about my skin is black, right? And so
Mhm. Mhm.
she she is real special, and
Mhm.
definitely those two women by far are two of the biggest inspirations in my career.
I love that. And sometimes when I interview artists, I'm shocked and surprised because what I think would be their music influences is totally different from what I would think. And you called out one of the greats, Nina Simone, and never had I interviewed an artist that kind of credits her as a musical influence. And I want to thank you for sharing that because Nina Simone, sometimes we don't think about the greats before the 70s and 80s. We kind of channel the night from the 90s, like the Whitney Houston's or your Mariah Carey's, but going back to the Billie Holidays and the Nina Simone, and you dropped something because if you think about it, these powerhouse women, black artists, they did songs that had messages of what was going on in our culture and our society during the civil rights movement. And even more so, like if you look at Billie Holiday, dropping Strange Fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And that was such a controversy.
Such
And
a
it's like she stood up for what she believed in, just like Nina Simone. So I I like to go back and think about that because with music, and a lot of people don't know, music did get us through the civil rights music. civil rights movement. It got
Every
us through. These artists that came out. You had, Harry Belafonte, um, Nina Simone, your Billie Holidays, just so many people were on the battle lines. And like you said, if I have to sacrifice a bag to help my people, I'm going to do that. I feel like music is different now. If we are on the front lines, you don't have that many people to sacrifice, our struggles now, with the police killing our black men every 5 minutes. I don't see a lot of artists putting out music to, talk about, different things that go on in society today. So I'm glad that you just, drop your influences in their history behind their music.
yeah. Times are different, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just know for me personally, I want to always make sure that I'm coming at what I do from a pure place.
Mm-hmm.
It can get very tempting to
Mm-hmm.
do just to get the money,
Mm-hmm.
into how you present yourself just so you can get there a little faster,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I have to remember, go back to my influences, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prove to me that you can be who you are. You do not have to sell your soul, quote
Mm-hmm.
unquote, to have a successful career. And
Mm-hmm.
um, they've proven it to me, and I feel like, well, Lord, if you can do it for them, you can do it for me.
And
And
he will. And he will. Once you put it out there, it's already done.
so yeah, I just try to remind myself of that. And um, yeah, it's a beautiful journey. It gets challenging at times. I get
Mm-hmm.
frustrated. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
Lord, like what is going on? Can
Mm-hmm.
things be a little quicker? Can we get there a little faster?
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
just husband today. I was just like, God, like, what am I doing? Like, am I doing this all in vain? Like, but you got to kind of come back to yourself. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
breathe. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Got literally, and I'm not lying at all. I was just in the bathroom, getting ready to get on this interview, questioning, what am I doing this all in vain? And
Mm-hmm.
not thinking like, wow, I'm about to have an opportunity to share my story with someone
Yes.
in it. So thank you, God, for that. I didn't. That was him right there because it
Yeah.
ain't click.
All the time, God is good.
but,
And God is
but yeah.
good all the time.
So again, I just want to say thank you, for giving me
Of
enough
course.
to share my story.
Of course, because you never know where this could lead you. Every
Right.
time I do a podcast, I'm like, I had a trigger moment right before I got on here, and I said, am I doing enough? Are people going to see this? And I had to think about it. Why not you? Use your voice. Continue to do what the Lord has called you to do. If this is your passion, continue to be consistent with it, because somebody's going to see it, and you never know where that's going to take you. Even with your music, someone huge is going to hear, and it's like, what, I gotta go see Destiny Stone. I'm an A&R rep for one of the biggest record labels. I gotta get her. She has a unique sound. So you just never know where this interview might take you and lead you. And I know it's gonna be plenty more interviews that you're gonna be doing. This is not the first podcast for you, probably, and I know it will not be the last. So you keep going, and you keep thinking that, what, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm a powerhouse, baby.
That is true. I appreciate the encouragement.
Of course.
But yeah, that's what it takes. You
Yes.
literally pep talk yourself sometimes.
Yes.
You
And
gotta
you
talk that
and you
thing.
have to readjust that crown.
Yeah,
You have to readjust that crown and say, what? I might be triggered, but I got this.
that is true.
And you will see it through. God will see you, through. I'm a person that believes in God. I was not on the right path. I lost my way, but sometimes God will humble you and bring you back, reel you back in to follow his will, his calling, what he wants you to do, and things like that. And so with your path, with your music, with your being an educator, you're on this right path. You're going to get there. You're going to get there. And I know I feel like that all the time, where I feel like I was in this position and I got railroaded and things happen, the pandemic happens, but it's all gonna come back. You know, when the phoenix rises from the ashes, you just gotta stay consistent, believe in yourself, because you are your biggest cheerleader.
That's
You are your biggest cheerleader. And speaking of cheerleaders, you know, like I just told you, you have a beautiful talent, a beautiful voice. Your music is, oh my God, I love it. And I want to know, who would be your ultimate collaboration? What artist would you want to collaborate with on a song or an album? Or just a sing like a nursery rhyme or something like that. Who would you want to collab with?
I think I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it in a podcast. I know I've said it in one of my shows. I specifically have a song. It's called If Love Had a Home, and I really want to do like a remix version with the Hamiltons. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Oh yes,
I,
yes.
I'm putting that out there. I don't know who listening. If y'all know the Hamiltons, tell me.
Hamiltons. You hit call Destiny Stone. She want to do the remix. Come on with it.
Up for them. They performed in town here in North Carolina last summer, and I just shot my shot at the people who was over the event, and so I got a chance to open up for them, and so I just feel it in my spirit like one day it's gonna work, and so I would love to do a song with them. I don't know if you ever heard of a group called the Shandellas. I would love to write some music for them, work with them. They're based, I think, in Nashville, Tennessee, and I follow them
Mhm.
on Twitter, and they're really good. They're working with like Grammy award-winning singer songwriters,
Mhm.
and so they're really good. They're getting music. I think I just saw somebody post that one of their songs on the radio in Greensboro. So
Oh
they're
wow.
moving along.
Mhm.
So they're called the Shandellas. If you've never heard of them, it reminds you of like the Supremes, but like a modern twist on like
Mhm.
Supremes. So, and then of course, NDRE, child. Look, BT, when y'all ready to do that special to
Yes.
NDRE in 15, 20 years, call me.
And you
Tyler,
listen.
Tyler Perry on BT now, so I don't know if it's true or not. But whoever owned it, when y'all get ready to honor NDRE in 15, 20 years, let me know because I want to be there, one of the
You're
artists to
gonna be there. You're gonna be there, and I hope I'll be there to introduce you
come on.
both on
Yeah,
stage. We gonna put it out there. We gonna
yeah,
high five. Girl, you remember we was on this podcast and
yes,
we were talking about, you know, me calling out your names on stage and you singing and performing a tribute to India Arie. It's already out there.
yes,
Let's
yes.
go. We gonna revisit this.
Here, those are my top. I don't have to put it on Twitter because you know Twitter, you just never know who be snippets.
Exactly. You
Never
never
know.
know.
Never
You
know.
never know. Now we're talking about, you know, Black Music Month and just music in general. How do you think music has changed so much in the last couple of years? You know, I feel like music is not the same as it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and even 5 years ago. So what's your opinion on how much has music changed?
I will say so. Like I said, I was a young girl, like so that the early 2000s era that we went through, like Jill Scott was popping,
Mm-hmm.
Erica Badu was popping. So like the early 2000s, like neo soul,
Mm-hmm.
era, real strong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so for me, that's like where I was like soaking in a lot during that time. So I was probably like fifth, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade around that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so yes, you're definitely right. Music has definitely changed. And I used to tease my students all the time. I used to play like some Soulja Boy song, like y'all don't know about this. You know, just you know, because even when it comes to like hip hop and just dance music and like how I mean Soulja Boy was making songs for us to dance, so he was giving you
Mm-hmm.
this song. I'm like,
Exactly.
these babies ain't got no songs to dance to. I said, baby, I don't know what y'all got going on. So yes, things are different. And that's why I think for me sometimes I get frustrated because they are different, right? We not in 2002 no more.
Mm-hmm.
This is and this ain't 2001. This is 2023. Things have changed, especially with technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
Social media opened is such a social media is such a catch 22 because on one hand it's amazing because you just get to put yourself out there, right? We've seen
Mm-hmm.
several artists have successful careers without a record label. Chance the Rapper proved that you don't gotta have a record label. You can do it independently. There's several
Mm-hmm.
artists out. However, on the flip side, because anybody can do it, it's so saturated. So you
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you get filmed because it's like, man, like, am I doing enough? Right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
think millions of people in the world wanted to get to that Grammy stage, right? We all want to get a Grammy one of these days. And even if they act like they don't want to get a Grammy, they want to get a Grammy. So, so then a catch-22, and I've just had to learn for the sake of my mental health that you just got to balance
Mm-hmm.
it out. You got to be careful about what you consume. You got to be careful about who you follow. And I've noticed, like, for me, if I'm not strong enough to follow a person because I keep feeling myself comparing myself to them, I'm sorry, but I got to unfollow you. It ain't nothing personal. I just got to do with my own mental health, right? And so it's a beautiful thing where you get to share
Mm-hmm.
you get to share your story, but at the same time you got to be careful
Mm-hmm.
because you'll be scrolling and you seeing everything they doing and you're like, well, God, why I ain't doing this? Why you didn't give me this, and why I don't get this? And you gotta take a step back and be like, you know what I'm saying? You don't know how they got there. You don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Somebody had to slap them upside their head before they got there. You don't even know. You just never know what people are going through. And so I'm just saying, it's so easy to look
Mm-hmm.
at the result and say, "Oh, I want to be there," but you just never know. They could have been homeless before they got to that point. You just never know what people have to go through, and you're
Yes.
wishing you could live their life,
Mm-hmm.
wishing they could live yours. And so I will say, in the
Mm-hmm.
last 5 years or so, with social media, that has definitely changed the game. Streaming, people ain't going to the store buying CDs no more.
Yes.
The game now.
Mm-hmm.
And so now people are in the struggles with trying to get paid for streams because again, people are not going in the store.
Mm-hmm.
They're not Walmart and Target buying a
Mm-hmm.
CD, right? And so again, things
Mm-hmm.
are changing, and you just kind of go. You got to go with the flow, um,
You
and
have to. Mm-hmm.
find your place and stick to it. So yeah.
And that is true. Like so much has changed in me, working in radio at a three hip hop, well, one hip hop, one R&B station, and one gospel station. And you can see the change in music for so many years. Even now, when you talked about streaming, most people, they're not listening a lot to the radio anymore. Everybody's listening to music on their phones. Everybody's not calling in to request a song. Those days of radio, of music and artists, that has long gone. So much social media has really taken over. Technology has really taken over when you think about, what artists, streaming music, media base, how the radio stations look to see, okay, what songs are charting right now. Like everything has changed. So I really feel like, in the next couple of years, music is about to change again. It's going to be something totally different than what we are experiencing right now.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised.
So I want to talk.
Go ahead. You know how kind of like fashion trends, right? And so when I was teaching my students, we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about hip hop, and I showed them a video of Biz Markie, and we talked about like the history of hip hop and looking at some of the older hip hop artists. And
Mm-hmm.
this girl in the video, she had like the little crisscross shirt on. She had on some biker shorts, and I said,
Mm-hmm.
y'all see how they dressing? I said, and you see how now we kind of wearing the same similar stuff. And so just like what fashion trend.
Mm-hmm.
I think music is going to kind of go through a similar thing where now it's like really hip to buy
Yes.
vinyl. Like 10 years ago, wasn't nobody buying no vinyl,
Mm-hmm.
no record player in the house. But now it's like
Exactly.
you can go in Walmart and buy a record player. I just saw something not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Mm-hmm.
the music industry is going to do something similar. Before you know it, we're going to go back to buying CDs. And I
Mm-hmm.
just,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, it just changes. It
Mm-hmm.
moves quick.
Yes.
And it's just one of those things where you just kind of ride
Mm-hmm.
the wave, find your
Mm-hmm.
place, and ride
Mm-hmm.
the
And another thing, I feel like a lot of artists these days, I'm hearing more samples. I'm not hearing anything new. I'm hearing more samples when it comes to hip hop artists and especially R&B artists. I'm hearing so many samples now from, artists from the 70s, from the 60s. You can hear, the different sounds, and I feel like, that wasn't done before. A lot of people weren't sampling, but now it is at an all-time high now, with sampling from artists from yesteryear.
Yeah. And I think another thing with that too is you don't have as many, I don't think you have as many musicians. So like you
Mhm.
like Marvin Gaye, for example, right? The 70s, we don't have
Mhm.
it. You
Yeah.
literally, if you got, they had people in there playing the bass, playing the keys. Stevie Wonder, Prince, they had musicians in there. They was playing them instruments, right? You
Yes.
have beat machines like how we have now, right?
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
that changed. Also, and people talk about this all the time on Twitter. You know, people love to argue on Twitter. But when you think about the big R&B singers, right?
Mhm.
A lot of those people grew up in church, but now
Yes.
times are changing. Church isn't The black church isn't as big of a thing anymore. So you know, people are like, well, these
Mhm.
people can't no more. And if you think about it, it's because they're not really growing up in church. Fantasia is probably one of the last ones that grew up in the church, and you know, you can still hear that black
Mhm.
gospel influence in her voice. Summer Walker, you can't
Mhm.
really, you know, and
Yes.
you
Mhm.
can't really hear that. Janae
Mhm.
Aiko, hear that, you know, and it just
Mhm.
goes. So, like you said, I mean, things change. Um, things change,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it's interesting to
Mhm.
see how times change and how that affects the music. You
Mhm.
know, in the culture, what happens in the culture
Yes.
affects the music.
Yes. Now I want to switch gears. I want to talk about you for a second because you just released your new song a couple of months ago and you dropped a video in the last month or two, and it's called They Got Nothing on You. Where did you get your inspiration from to come up with this song, and what does this song mean to you?
Yeah, so I wrote that song I think back in like 2018, and so about 5 years
Wow.
I wrote it, and I didn't record it until like the end of last year. So it'd be like that sometimes. Um, but yeah, I think I needed some encouragement, and so
Mhm.
somebody else probably needs some encouragement too. And so
Mhm.
I wrote it, and like I said, I had performed it before, but I didn't get into the studio until the end of last year, and got in the studio, recorded it, and I was really really excited about it, but at the same time nervous because you putting that gift out there, and you hope people, when you open up the gift,
Mhm.
hoping they gonna be like, oh, you want people to like the gift that you got them.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
other thing, right? So I really hope that people enjoyed it. So I got good response, and
Mm.
of course, I want to have some fun with my students, and so I opened it up for my students to get to audition and be a part of the video.
Yes.
So if you get a chance, go to my YouTube channel, watch the video. It's really really
I
fun.
loved it. I watched the video already. I loved it. I loved how the scene was like set in this classroom because you're a music educator. But I saw the kids and they was just having so much fun, and it was lively. It was colorful. The song just really stands out to me. It's like they got nothing on you. So no matter what you go through or what, sometimes we can get that imposter syndrome, like, why me? But they got nothing on you. So it just kind of, lifted my spirits when I saw the video and just listening to, the words, because they got nothing on you. If you are a queen, like you said earlier, continue to stay in your lane, be yourself, be your authentic self, be unique. They got nothing on you.
Yeah, and I think before I taught middle school, I taught elementary school, and so
Mhm.
that shift, I was a little nervous about that shift because I
Mhm.
was like the babies, and so I was a little nervous
Mhm.
about school. Once I got to middle school, I really loved it, and of course, our middle schoolers now are in this day age with social media, and we had a lot of girls who were a lot of times getting into it with each other because of social
Mhm.
posting stuff, and of course, I've noticed like some of our girls that were posting things that might not be very, very appropriate, but they're doing it because in their mind, this is
Mm-hmm.
what I do to get people to like me, or this is what I have to do to show you that I'm pretty, or that the boys,
Mm-hmm.
and so we got all this. You already in middle school, you're already in this really awkward age, and then you put
Mm-hmm.
T on top of it, it can just be
Mm-hmm.
a hot. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was really excited to get some of my students to be a part of it. And just like you said, for that 3 minutes that you listen to that song, I want you to feel like I got this. You know what I'm saying? I want you
Mm-hmm.
to feeling like I shoot. You might have just cried 2 minutes before you listen to the song, but that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. You wipe the tears from your eyes and
Mm-hmm.
you remind yourself that I'm the better me, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we're all unique, and you stand in that. You find what you do. You find what you do well, and you do it. And
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
not any cliches because it's so easy to fall into the cliches. It's so
Yes.
easier said than done. And I can say it's easier said than done, but you have to do it. You got to push. Like I told you, just being transparent. Right before this podcast, I was,
Mm-hmm.
girl, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you just got to get reminded that you got to reflect back, count up all those wins, even the small,
Mm.
even the ones
Yes.
you think wasn't really important. All this stuff is adding up, right? All of this, you're building your house, and before you know it, you're gonna be able to take a step back and like, wow, this is a beautiful house,
Mm-hmm.
right? Brick by brick by brick. And I gotta remind myself too that you know, good good food take time. Okay,
Mm.
McDonald's might be quick. Okay, it might hold you over, but ain't nothing like no good greens. Ain't nothing like no good cornbread.
Mm.
Like no good peas. I mean, that good stuff that's gonna stick to your bones, but that take time, right? That's gonna take
Mm.
hours to
Yeah.
prepare.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, pop that in the microwave, and I gotta remind myself working out, right? If you going
Mm-hmm.
to, it's gonna be painful, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's you gonna be stretching the muscles and tearing the muscles and rebuilding those muscles. You're gonna be sweating. But when you look in the mirror and you see that, okay, your clothes fit a little different, you remind yourself, okay, this, and so I have to remind myself, it's like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Time is gonna take. I might have some painful moments, but that's what it takes. You know what I'm saying, to get that result that you desire, and to
Yes.
last. And I don't want to build up something so quick and so fast that anybody can just come and tear it away from me. I want to be sure I have a solid foundation. I
Mm-hmm.
know who I am. You can't swindle me. Ain't no swindling me over here, okay? I've
Mm-hmm.
been for a minute, set me a good foundation. And I've had times where people tried to come in and talk a good game, and
Mm-hmm.
like, hold up, wait a minute now. And your initial reaction is like, okay, God, this is my time, this is my big break. But then when you take it back and look at it, it's like, okay, is this really the best thing for me to do? Because people try
Mm-hmm.
when they're doing something good, they're gonna try to come in there, put their little paws on.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And literally, it just happened to me not too long ago. And I reached out to an entertainment lawyer last year, and I was like, hey, can you look at this for me? And she was like, I mean, because they ain't gonna lie, they talked a good game. They was telling me
Mm-hmm.
what they had worked with, and sounded real good. But then I, did my due diligence, reached out to that entertainment lawyer. Hey, can you look at this for me? And in her professional opinion, ma'am, I don't think you should do that. And
Mm-hmm.
one of those moments was like, okay, Destiny, I know you want to get there, but you can't want to get there so bad that you make poor decisions and you make bad,
Yes.
and so it was a little discouraging because I was really excited, but in the end,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to have any regrets, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want
Mm-hmm.
to be excited to do something, sign something, and before you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a big old mess that I didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Oh, girl, I love that. I love, you just being very open and transparent, with your experiences as a music educator as well as an artist. And I know we're getting ready to wrap up with this interview, and I have just a couple of more questions. And then after that, we're gonna play a little game. I gotta test your trivia, of Black Music Month. Now I get to be the teacher on this end, and you will be, one of the artist pupils. And we're gonna test your knowledge on a little Black Music Month trivia. Now, you just dropped your new single a couple of months ago, as well as your video. Do you have any other projects that you got coming out for the rest of the year? And what can we expect from you, Destiny Stone?
Yes, so make sure you're following my YouTube channel. I am planning to release another music video this year, so stay tuned for that. It's gonna be really, really special. So stay tuned for that. Again, follow me on social media so you're always in the loop. I do post regularly, so if you ever wondering what she got going on, you go on my social media. I'll let
Mm-hmm.
you got going on. I know this weekend I'll be in Marshville, North Carolina for their Juneteenth celebration. Next week, I'll be in Raleigh for a teaching rally, performing some entertainment for that.
Wow.
Next month, I'll be at Camp North End in Charlotte, North Carolina. So if you're in the Charlotte area, it's free. Come out to Camp North End. It's gonna be a good time that evening. And so I'm always open and available for booking. So again, my social media is all the same at Destiny Stone Music. Then my website is destinystonemusic.com. So again, I do post pretty regular on my social
Mm-hmm.
media.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Check it out, and I try to keep y'all updated.
And but you do have something else coming out this year, and it is a new project. And you didn't mention it, but I want you to kind of expound on that. And it's called "They Got Nothing on You" School Tour. So tell me a little bit about that you have coming out later on this year too.
Yeah, so I'm looking to come to middle schools and high schools in the area. The school year is gonna be here before we know it, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of give students that pep as they get ready to start a new school year. Just like the song says, they got nothing on you. Just really encourage them and get them excited about their school year, and kind of get them to reflect their
Mm-hmm.
learning. So I don't want to just sing. I want us to discuss. I want us to talk. And
Mm-hmm.
another thing when it comes to the song is we're really good at finding the things that's wrong with us. I remember
Yes.
when
Yes.
and my therapist was like, okay, well, tell me some of the things you don't like about yourself or things you want to change. And I
Mm-hmm.
could off, well, I don't like this and I wish I could change that. And then she's like, okay, well, tell me some of the things that you love about yourself. And it took me a minute to think about the things that I really love about myself. And so I was like, wow, if I'm a grown woman, struggling with that, I know a middle schooler or a high schooler, maybe struggling with that self confidence. And so with
Mm-hmm.
They Got Nothing on You tour, I just really want to remind the students. And for some of them, it might not even be a reminder. It might be somebody first time telling them, really, injecting that self confidence into them. Look, I know it gets tempting. I know you might want to fit in. I know you might want to
Mm-hmm.
do crazy to try to get somebody to like you, but you don't have to do that, right?
Mhm.
Look at,
Mhm.
let's name those things that you love about yourself. Okay,
Mm.
scroll and you see the girl post a selfie, and she got her nice bust down uh frontal, and your mama said you ain't getting all that. Your mama said you gotta get some braids. That's okay. Okay, you gonna still be
Mhm.
cute with braids.
Yes.
So just those little things that especially for middle schoolers and high schoolers in
Mm.
this age of social media, to try to help them to filter, right? Help
Mm.
do some of that stuff, right? And to remind them that, honey, when God made you, He broke that mold, and there's no,
Yes.
and you're good, right? And
Mm.
kids, they need to hear that. And like I said,
Mhm.
it really opened my eyes. So
Mhm.
I knew I was in middle school at one point too, but it's been like 10, 15 years. So I ain't been there.
Mhm.
But to teach them and to kind of see it from a different perspective,
Mhm.
open
Mhm.
to, like, they deserve to have some good things injected to them. And again, like I said, you never know what these kids got going on at home. They might not have nobody,
Mhm.
honey, that you're good or you're great, or
Mhm.
every child.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes. I really appreciate you going into the school systems and just really teaching the kids that you are beautiful, you are worthy. They got nothing on you, be embrace you. And you said something, all about loving yourself. I know for me as an adult, I struggle with loving myself. I look at the social media, we all have those, triggers, but I have to go back and think they got nothing on me. I'm unique, I'm worthy, and I have to make sure I remember that, because I know how it was being a middle schooler and high schooler, even adult. And we all have those triggers, but it's people like you that want to help students with their self-confidence. We didn't have that when I was growing up. I'll be 36 by the grace of God in August. I can't even think about people coming into the school system, just educating them about their confidence and making them feel good about
Mhm.
themselves. I didn't have that. So when I see educators like yourself doing these for the students, because they might not have anybody, and you're right, and your blessings will, God will bless you for that, for what you were doing in the school system as an educator, and as well as your tour that's coming up.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yes. So are you ready to play this game as we wrap up this interview?
it. I guess. Let's
Are
see.
you ready? Now, I really didn't pick any hard questions. But I'm like, okay, Destiny is a music educator, so she and an artist, so she would get these. So are you ready to play this Black
Let's
Music Month trivia game?
let's play.
Okay. So the first question is, when was the term R&B music first introduced? Is it A, the 1940s, B, the 50s, or C, the 1960s?
My husband up here trying to tell me the answer. Okay, so I know it's called race music. I wanna say, let's say 60s.
Okay, is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
Okay. The answer is the 1940s.
Really?
That was when it was first introduced.
Okay. I know it used to be called race music. I wasn't sure though when that transition happened. Okay, you taught me
Mhm.
something. Okay.
Okay, okay. Question number 2. Which year was the first album of Alicia Keys released? Was it A, 1999, B, 2001, or C, 2004?
Ooh, all these years, child.
Ooh.
And the reason I think it's 2001, I remember it's a big controversy because her and Arie got nominated for a lot of the same categories at the Grammy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Alicia Keys ended up winning almost every cat. I want to say 2001. Lord, we're going to go 2001.
Okay, that's your final answer.
Yes, that's my final answer.
Okay, and the answer is, you were right. It is 2001 when her first album, and it was called Songs in Minor. I remember when that song dropped. I can't remember if it dropped in the spring or in the fall, but if it was in the fall, then that means I was in the ninth grade. But I remember coming home and it premiered on TRL on MTV. And I just remember I was like, who is this girl playing this piano? Who is Alicia Keys? Like, I did not know. And just the genre of R&B. I love the song. I thought she was a beast on the piano, and I love to hear New York artists. So I remember when that album dropped. That was like literally one of my favorite albums. All right, you ready for question number 3?
Yes, we
All
ready.
right, now you got one right. Now we got 5 questions, so we got 3 more. All right, which R&B artist or group is known for begging in their music? Is it A, Boys to Men, B, Keith Sweat, or C, Tony Tone?
Oh, you said begging, like begging the
Uh-huh.
people. Um, Keith Sweat, Tony. Who was the first one?
And Boys to Men.
Boys to me. I'm gonna go with Keith Sweat.
Okay, that's your final answer.
Yes.
Okay, you got it right, because we should all know Keith Sweat always begs in his music. That
Oh, it is.
All right, question number 4. Which singer has won the most Grammy Awards for Best R&B Song? Is it A, Gladys Knight, B, Beyonce, or C, Stevie Wonder?
Stevie Wonder.
Okay. Is that your final answer?
I know it's not good. Is it Beyonce or Stevie? I know Stevie has a lot of Grammys. I'm gonna go with Stevie, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm gonna go with Stevie. I know he.
Okay. The answer is it is Mrs. Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter. She has the most Grammy Awards for Best R&B Song.
So how many do she get? Did it tell you?
I think, well, in all, I think she has 21 Grammys to 23 Grammys. Like, she has the most Grammys for a female artist, but I don't really know the number of Grammys she has for Best R&B Song, but she got
She
it.
up.
She up there.
Yeah, I know
All right.
a lot too, but I just can't remember who got more. But I know he got a lot.
Oh, yes, yes. Now, this is the last question. All right. Which artist from American Idol, if you remember American Idol back in the day, I don't watch it now, but back in the day, I used to watch American Idol. Who won Best R&B Album in 2009? Is it A, Fantasia, B, Ruben Studdard, or C, Jennifer Hudson?
Oh Lord, Jennifer does have a Grammy, and that
Mm-hmm.
might be won a Grammy because she's EGOT.
Okay, okay.
I wanna say Jennifer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's your final answer?
That's my final answer.
Okay, and the answer is Jennifer Hudson. You are right. She won Best R&B Album in 2009. I want to say that was the album with Spotlight on there. If I'm not mistaken, that's
And
that album, which is Spotlight is one of my favorite songs from her.
yeah, Spotlight was probably one of the singles. No, I don't. Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah.
And I know she's
Living under your spotlight. Now, I cannot
that
sing, but I can carry a tune.
is. When I used to ride the bus in the morning, the bus driver used to be playing the radio, and that
Mhm.
song played in the morning time.
Yes. Well, Destiny, I just want to thank you for coming on the Sip and Sip platform. And you got to come back because there's so many things you got going on. And of course, you family now. So you got to come back. You're more than welcome to come back anytime. So again, before we close, Destiny, can you please drop your social media handles for everybody so they can keep up with you?
Yeah, so at Destiny Stone Music everywhere, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn, Destiny Stone. Um, DestinyStoneMusic.com if you want to check out my website. So yeah, I update my events and whatnot on my website. So if you're ever wondering where I'm performing at in your area, I am based in North Carolina, but you just never know. I might be somewhere in one of these 50 states. Um,
Yes.
I'm available for booking, always available for booking. So if you're interested in that, go to my website, destinystonemusic.com. And I would love to come to your event, share some entertainment, share music with you. And that's it.
Yes. Well, make sure y'all go stream her song. They got nothing on you, baby. Is available now on all streaming platforms. Go to her YouTube videos, keep up with her, and support our Black artists because listen, like we discussed earlier, we are the foundation of music. This is Black Music Month, so we want to support all of our Black artists. And Destiny, I just want to say thank you so much again. I'm proud of you, girl. And I can't wait to see you on the Grammy stage now performing with Miss India Arie. And of course, yours truly will be introducing y'all. We're going to put it out there. It's up and it's up.
Thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun. I definitely have enjoyed this interview. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. Until next time, y'all make sure y'all like, subscribe to this YouTube. This will be posted very, very soon. And again, thank you so much for coming on the Sip and Sit. And thank you to all of you that constantly support and watch me on this platform. Until next time, it's A Millie for the Sip and Sip podcast. Peace.